What's happening, everybody? Friday, July 25th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today on a special hour-and-a-half version of Loud Majority Live. We're going to be kicking it here until 2:30 today. Very excited about that. We are going to be joined by some very special guests. In about 20 minutes, we are going to be joined by Brandon Strzok, the founder of the Walkaway Movement. We're going to be talking about our big rally on Sunday in at Union Square in New York City. We're going to be talking about that, what Brandon's been up to. All good stuff there. Second half of the show today, we're going to be joined by a very, very, very special guest. A very special guest. Some of you know him. Some of you love him. My little brother, as I like to call him. I'll let the chat figure out all of who that may be. We are going to be chatting Epstein stuff because, that's what we do there. Guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling here. Let's get into all the news of the day because Democrats had a major, major fumble yesterday with one of the stupidest charts I can imagine. Donald Trump decided to sue the Fed chair and then go visit him at his place of work. It was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen in one of the most uncomfortable interviews I can imagine. Also, Donald Trump's administration has found 13,000 of the children who have been missing so far following the Biden administration's complete and utter nonsense. And Emily Jasinski of Breaking Points breaks down one of the most insane New York Times articles I think I have ever heard of in my entire life. The New York Times has completely and utterly jumped the shark. So we're going to laugh at that. Emily does a great breakdown of that. I really do love her work. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. Let's get rocking. Let's get rolling. Today, the big news of the day is President Trump has decided that he is going to sue New York City over their sanctuary policies. This is a big deal, especially with the New York City mayor's race coming up. The DOJ has filed a lawsuit against New York City officials, including Mayor Eric Adams, over their sanctuary city policies for illegal immigration. The suit claims that the city's sanctuary policies constitute and create obstacles to the enforcement of immigration law, in violation of the Supremacy Clause and policy that discriminates against the federal government. It certainly does do that. This week, New York City sanctuary policies have reaped tragic consequences. The suit states, noting that on July 20th, two illegal immigrants reportedly ambushed an off-duty CBP agent, leaving him, ambush a CBP agent in Fort Washington Park. We went over that. The two illegal immigrants had been arrested in April on fourth-degree felony grand larceny and petty larceny. ICE then placed immigration detainer on one of the illegals, but, quote, the New York City Department of Corrections ignored the detainer and released him into the streets of New York, leaving him free to continue his crimes. Here is Fox News reporting.
The Justice Department is suing New York City and Mayor Eric Adams over the city's migrant sanctuary policies. This is the same DOJ that dropped a corruption case against Adams earlier this year. This is also obviously why you've got this heated mayoral race going on in New York City, where the police officers are backing Eric Adams. You've got Cuomo in that race as well. And it comes days on the Democrat side, and it comes days after an off-duty CBP officer was shot in the face in a New York park by someone who was in the country illegally. Now, the feds say that both of these suspects were, as I said, here illegally. They had prior arrests, had been released back out onto the street repeatedly. Correspondent Nate Foy reports live. This is going to get a lot of attention, this lawsuit. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Martha. Yeah, the complicated relationship between the Trump administration and New York City Mayor Eric Adams gets even more complicated with this latest development. Just in the past few minutes, we're learning that the Justice Department has filed a lawsuit against the city of New York as well as Mayor Adams and other New York City officials over its sanctuary policies. And we are just beginning to go through this report. It's a 37-page lawsuit, but essentially the argument from the Justice Department is that the sanctuary laws violate the supremacy clause of the Constitution. This is very similar to the arguments that we've seen the Trump administration make against Chicago and also Los Angeles. This was filed in the Eastern District of New York, and the lawsuit references those two illegal migrants that you just mentioned, accused of shooting an off-duty CBP officer in the face who's now in stable condition. Now, those migrants, both from the Dominican Republic, had been arrested several times by the NYPD in the years leading up to the shooting. Both of them were released multiple times despite having active ICE detainers and deportation orders in place. Now, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem blames sanctuary policies for this shooting, and Border Czar Tom Homan had similar criticism today. Listen to this.
Absolutely. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. Hard stop. Bottom line, that's what it is. And the President Trump made a commitment a couple weeks ago that we're going to prioritize sanctuary cities. I made a statement the other day about New York. We're going to flood the zones. The sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the communities and more worksite enforcement.
And this is a nuanced situation for Eric Adams because he has criticized the sanctuary policies before, but also yesterday.
It is wild to think that, here's what's so fascinating about all of these sanctuary city policies is that all it's going to do is lead to more enforcement and more enforcement in ways that the city doesn't actually want. If they had kept the ICE detainers on the people that ICE placed them on and removed them from the country, then Tom Homan and ICE wouldn't be doing these sort of workplace sweeps. But because they are choosing to flagrantly flout the law, now Tom Homan says, I got to go to your workplace. I got to start finding you in your homes. If Democrats wanted to play ball, they would actually probably get less deportations than they're going to get now. But because they put on this front, it leaves Tom Homan no options. It leaves him no options to do what he needs to do. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. New York City has released thousands of criminals onto the streets to commit violent crimes against law-abiding citizens due to the sanctuary policies, said Pam Bondi. If New York City won't stand up for the safety of its citizens, we will. But that's not the only story out of New York City today. Apparently, dead voters are casting ballots in Brooklyn. Oh, yeah. And I want to be clear, there's a lot of dead people in Brooklyn. That is absolutely true. The difference is this happened in the GOP primary for city council. In June's GOP primary race between two South Brooklyn city council candidates, it has been reported that at least 2 ballots submitted under the names of dead people were cast. From the New York Post, ballots were submitted under the names of Juliet Winvan and Antoinette Garzanti in the 47th District's primary. The race between the Brooklyn chairman and George Sarantopoulos. Yep, George, I'm sorry, I mispronounced that name every single time. Another voter, William Allen, 87, said that he had received a cure notice, which is a notification voters receive when their ballot contains an error, such as a missing signature, despite the fact he didn't vote in the primary. Garzanti's daughter, Linda Smith, told the outlet, "That is amazing. I find this unbelievable. Yes, we still got ballots for her. They were ripped up and thrown away. So I want to know who's doing it." So not only were there illegal ballots being sent out in this Republican primary, so this is not a Democrat thing. Not only were there unsolicited mail-in ballots being sent out, but when those unsolicited mail-in ballots were being sent out, votes were still being cast for those people. I cannot remember. No instance. There's absolutely no instance of this happening whatsoever, except for, this time and the couple millions of times beforehand. Sarantopoulos is leading the GOP chairman by just 32 votes and a recount is being held. Sarantopoulos reported the report is shocking and concerning. These apparent facts really call for the district attorney's investigation, said election lawyer Martin O'Connor. They need to find out how someone other than the voter was able to obtain and submit absentee ballots. The executive director, John Caney, executive director for the watchdog group Reinvent Albany, said that despite reporting, voter fraud is considered rare in the city and across the United States. Said it's hard to get away with and very easy to detect if done in a big enough way to affect an election. That doesn't stop various knuckleheads from trying. I wouldn't call them various knuckleheads. Moreover, in an election that went down to, right now, 32 votes, this matters. This absolutely matters. I'd be curious to see who those two dead people happened to vote for. But big things are happening all over New York City. In just a minute, we are going to be joined by Brandon Strock, and we're going to be talking about our big rally in New York City this weekend. Very excited about that. I can't wait to be in Union Square and sweat my ass off, because I know that's going to happen for sure. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this program and everything we've got going on over here. Let's pop this up onto the screen. You guys can get the Fight, Fight, Fight shirt that I am currently wearing. You can get your Gulf of America shirt, your Doge Father. There are so many options on here. Guys, if you use promo code RUMBLE, you will get 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. You are supporting a great cause, my cause. I really do appreciate that. Pick up your board shorts today. Get your bathing suits ready for the summer. Giddy up. I mean, we're in the summer, so what the hell? You should have it by now. Anyway, guys, go to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com and use promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. Guys, well, once again, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We will be right back in 1 second with the founder of the Walkaway Movement, Brandon Strock. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Awesome to have my next guest on. He is going to be throwing a rally in New York City, my beloved city, to help get Democrats to wake up, as he has continued to do for the majority of his career. Guys, please welcome the founder of the Walkaway Movement, Brandon Strock. Brandon, how are you?
Great. Good to be here.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for believing that New York is still savable, as I yell it from the rooftops and seem to be one of like 5 people who think that the Big Apple can still be saved.
Oh, it can be saved. I mean, I think anything's savable. I wouldn't, do what I do if I didn't believe that with a little grit and determination, we can move mountains.
Absolutely. So before we get into the rally that you've gracious enough to have me at, that you're going to be throwing in New York, the Walkaway campaign. This has been going on for a number of years now, a very, very long time, pretty much as long as I've been in politics. Getting Democrats to sort of see the light and see that the party of current is not the party of Kennedy, not even the party of Clinton, not even the party of Andrew Cuomo at this point. It has become the party of the crazies. How has the reception been on that? How has it been for you? I know it's got to be tough being the first person out in front, but you've been really successful at it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been good. It's been a mixed bag for sure. I've enjoyed like all of the opportunities and experiences and blessings that's come with doing this work. I started Walkaway in May of 2018. Through it, we've toured colleges all over the country. We've gone into different minority communities doing town halls, debates, rallies, marches, educational videos, all kinds of things. I've literally done, hundreds of events throughout the years, and it's mostly been amazing. But as you pointed out, it's an interesting thing because obviously there are organizations and influencers who are larger, more well-known than I am. But what I find is that even if you're Charlie Kirk or Turning Point or whatever, they don't seem to get quite the same hatred and animosity and targeting as we do at Walkaway. And I think it's largely because, if you're a defector from the Democrat cult, you kind of become public enemy number one. And we've certainly faced that too. So it's been pretty brutal at times.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting. I say this to people all the time, particularly with you, not that it matters, but you happen to be gay. And it's the people that the left believes ought to be on their side that they seem to go after the most, whether it's you or Dave Rubin a number of years ago or Candace a number of years ago. It's the people that wait, what? You're supposed to be like the way they turned on Caitlyn Jenner, or the way they vilify anybody who dares even speak out, whether it's celebrity or musician or anything like that. It's the people they think should be with them that they seem to abuse. Like, everything's my fault to the left. I am a white, straight Protestant male.
Right.
Everything's my fault. So they know they're not getting me. But I think they're so pissed at people like you because they feel betrayed by you.
Yeah, they feel betrayed. And then they feel like we're also like spoiling it because we're not, we're being outspoken about all of the lies and propaganda and exploitation and manipulation. So that's why they hate us so much, because their whole thing is that they have to control people through deception. And if you blow the whistle on their deception and you're a member of one of these minority groups that they feel like they have ownership over, then you're ruining it, and I think that that's what I did in a really major way is I ruined it and caused a lot of other people to leave as well. And a lot of other people to kind of turn on a light bulb, and they absolutely hate that. And so they want to see you destroyed any way that they can, whether it's putting you in jail or accusing you of crimes you didn't commit, or destroying your reputation or your organization or your finances, your career, anything they can do to destroy you. There's no limits.
Which better than almost anybody, having spent some time away from the movement, unfortunately, due to that ridiculous crap from January 6th. But you do have something that most of us don't have, a presidential pardon, which look, it sucks that you had to have one, but like having one, I'm sure the frame you got was really nice. So whoever that piece of paper may be. But we're having you on today to talk about the big New York City rally that is coming up on July 27th at 1 p.m. at Union Square in New York City. You, myself, Curtis Lewa, who else is going to be there? What are we doing? What is the goal? And I can't wait for everybody to be there and to see it. It's been a while since I've protested in New York City. I miss it.
Yeah, well, so the name of the event is the Rally Against Democratic Socialism, and I'm encouraging New Yorkers from all across the political spectrum, whether you're a moderate Democrat, independent, libertarian, Republican, come together. I'm not even asking people necessarily to leave their party, but I am saying that I think that we should be able to bond and unite over the very basic principle that America is not a communist country. America is not a socialist nation. And that we should not open the door and embrace these principles, and that New York City should not be a ground for experimentation to see if we can make socialism work. Socialism has never worked. It's always failed, and it will fail in New York. It'll fail the city, and I love this city. So I want to bring people together to say, no, we're going to fight a socialist takeover of this city, which I think, if normalized, will spread across the country and cause massive destruction, not to mention destruction of New York. But that's the main thing. And it's not just one event. We're starting this Sunday, the 27th, 1 o'clock, Union Square. Everyone come out and be there and support. But this is the first of what will be many that I'm going to do between now and November, not to mention assembling an army of volunteers to help canvass boroughs and knock on doors and have conversations with New Yorkers and pass out literature and have conversations about the dangers of embracing democratic socialism. So this is the first of what will be many events. But we've invited all of the mayoral candidates. We've heard back from a couple, not everybody yet. I would hope that we could get as many there as possible. But also, in addition, it's going to be a rally, but it's also going to kind of turn into a live public debate there in Union Square, where we're going to encourage New Yorkers to step up and approach the microphone, ask questions, debate, and really take the opportunity to kind of educate and engage in discussion.
Absolutely. I think that's so great, particularly that second part there, because so many people, and I hate this because I'm on the board of the New York City Young Republican Club, and I'm always trying to get people to come out to the city. And being from Long Island, there's a lot of people that are actually genuinely afraid of going to New York City, and I tell them all the time, we have to go out of our comfort zone, and this doesn't just apply to New York City. If you're from Florida, go to Orlando, go to Tampa. Go to the blue areas. If you're in California, go to LA, go to Sacramento, go to San Francisco, because if we just remain in our red areas, we are never going to be able to see the sorts of flips that could potentially happen. Take a place like New Jersey. Go to Trenton, go to Newark, go to Bergen County, the blue areas, and really make that sort of dent in there. Because if you can change a voter's mind in a blue area, that's actually 2 votes, because Democrats will lose 1 and Republicans will gain 1. So
That's
it's actually a plus or minus 2 when you do that. But I can't wait for the debate part. I've been wanting to do that forever, man. Just go to pull a Charlie Kirk and just go to a college campus and just with a table that says debate me. It's it's going to be exciting.
Very, very exciting. I'm really excited about it because I think it's not something that conservatives normally do. And, I've been a New Yorker for more than 20 years and passed through Union Square thousands upon thousands of times. And there's oftentimes some sort of political activity going on there, but it's typically some sort of leftist cause, pro-Palestine, pro-trans, who knows. But you very rarely see people on the more conservative side of the aisle come together and say that they want to stand up and demonstrate. And so I think what we're going to be doing is very rare. And I think it's really exciting. And I'm hoping that we begin a movement here in New York to take the city back and say, this is not going a progressive hellhole. It's not a socialist hellscape. This is a city that we love and care about. And I think common sense people need to band together, stand up and fight for it.
Absolutely. We did a voter registration drive in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. And I can't tell how many people came up to us and said that they've never even seen Republicans in the borough of Brooklyn. And they have an elected Republican there, Ina Vernikoff, who is great. I love Ina to death. But so many people said that they never saw anybody, mobilize or do anything like that. And I think a lot of it, and I think President Trump's success was going to the places that Republicans for years had written off, whether it was the rally in the South Bronx that we had, which was the hottest day in the history of New York City. It was about 4,000 degrees there. People were dropping like flies. But we have to make those sorts of inroads because the old-timey Republicans, they're just not going to do it.
No, yeah, and we have to do that, absolutely. And it's really dismaying how, even Republican leadership looks at the map and says, there's no point in putting time, energy, or resources into this place or this place or this place. And so New York City is one of those places that just kind of gets abandoned, I feel like, many times. And so I don't know. I mean, part of the fight here, I think, too, maybe is showing the Republican Party not to abandon New York. Maybe that's a big part of this as well. Because, look, we've got our work cut out for us, I think, fighting this guy. I think it can be done. I believe it can be done. I think with hard work and determination, we will do it. But I also think, we need the Republican Party to not run away from hard work. And, unfortunately, they look at us and they write us off. And I think that we need to show them not to do that.
Well, Brandon, I cannot wait for the 27th. It's been, I'll be honest, that for my longtime viewers out there, it's been a while since I've been out in the streets, where I feel like I'm going back to my roots now. So I want to thank you for putting all of this together. I want to thank your team. Where can everybody follow you? Where can they support you? Aside from coming on the 27th.
Right. Well, so you can find me on every social media platform at Brandon Strzok, and it's spelled like that. There's an A on the end, so it looks like Straka, but we say Strzok. I'm on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything. And then I really want to encourage people to go to walkawaycampaign.com, and you can sign up if you want to be a volunteer. If you want to attend the rally, go to walkawaycampaign.com/events. You can get more information. Please register, because we want to keep in touch with you as we do more events throughout the year. That way we can either shoot you a text or send you an email letting you know where the next one is, because we want people to keep coming and build the momentum and the movement in the Army. And if you can't volunteer and you can't show up, please donate to the cause. And you can do that at walkawaycampaign.com.
Absolutely. And look, guys, the fight does not stop. We got New York City in 25, and then we've got the governor in 26. And I don't know about you guys, but I am ready to shock the world and turn New York red. Brandon Strock, thank you so much for coming on, my friend.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, guys. We will be right back. So, guys, we are going to be having some fun out in New York City over the course of the next several days. I cannot wait for Sunday. Like I said, I got to get back. The Loud Majority started with us being out in the streets. And, I feel like I haven't really been doing a lot of that recently, with the show and with work and whatnot. A lot of traveling, so I'm happy to be back out there. We have to make sure, as I said in the interview, we have to make sure we don't write off any of these blue areas. It doesn't matter where you live. Make sure you're going to your cities, you're registering voters. It's going to be one hell of a time. It's going to take each and every one of us to do it. Guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. How's everybody doing? I didn't say hello to everybody in the chat. What up, Sky? What up, Arrow Pink? Custom Rock? What's happening? Tommy Girl, how we doing? How we doing, Moose? What's happening, everybody watching all over the place? Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button. Help get LFA TV to 110,000 followers. What's up, Nancy R. Star? Giddy up. Let's go. Democrats know that they are in a bad way. They know that the radicalism of people like Zoran Mamdani cannot be justified. And it's not just Zoran. It's Omar Fatah in Minneapolis. It is Hasmi in Virginia. These people are beginning to bubble up everywhere. We don't want it in our cities. We don't want it in our communities. And when they get asked about it, they have a difficult time defending the radicalism. Here's Richie Torres, New York Democrat, who has basically shown every signal imaginable that he plans on primarying Governor Kathy Hochul in 2026, not being able to even defend the policies of Zoran Mamdani.
Cuomo, pretty early on. Yeah.
I knew he would win my district, and he won by more than 20 points. And for all his imperfections, I genuinely thought he was effective as governor, right? He delivered marriage equality when others before him failed miserably. And he was a great builder of New York, between Mario Cuomo Bridge, Moynihan Train Hall, LaGuardia Airport. I mean, these are, Javits Center. These are staggering infrastructural achievements. So I endorsed him for those reasons.
And the knock on him was that during the campaign, he was not visible.
Yeah.
He wasn't out there. Did you interact with him at all during the campaign? It was a pretty long campaign. I mean, did you talk to him after you endorsed him?
I endorsed him back in February, and I have not spoken to him since February.
To this minute?
I have not spoken to him since February. The mayoral candidate to call me after the primary was not Andrew Cuomo, it was Zoran Mamdani.
He called you?
Yes.
Even though you decidedly did not support him?
Yes.
Did he ask for your support?
I think he expressed interest in just a relationship going forward.
I mean...
But if you had told me that the first mayoral candidate to call me would be Zoran Mamdani rather than Andrew Cuomo, I would have had trouble believing it.
I'm picking my job right now. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed?
The world,
or does that speak to why Andrew Cuomo didn't win the Democratic primary?
Well, I feel like the governor now admits that he ran a complacent campaign. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to run for mayor of New York, you have to work for it. You have to hustle for every single vote because it is the greatest city on earth. It is the most demanding position, second only to the presidency. And you have to show that you want that job, and the voters have to know you want it.
How did your conversation go with Mamdani?
It was mutually respectful. We have profound differences of opinion. But the Democratic nominee is likely to be the mayor of New York. And the mayor needs the New York City congressional delegation. And the New York City congressional delegation needs the mayor. And it's in the interest of both sides to cooperate and coexist for the good of the city and the country.
Can you see yourself endorsing him before the general election?
Look, unlike Republicans, I accept the results of elections, but I have no plans to endorse because there are...
He won't even endorse the Democratic nominee. And I want to be clear, of all the Democrats in the New York Democratic congressional delegation, Richie Torres is the least insane of each and every one of them. But just listening to the way he described how Andrew Cuomo ran that campaign, it doesn't shock me that he lost. And I've said this many times, up and down, left ways and sideways, that it doesn't shock me that Zoran Mondani was able to win the New York Democratic primary. It doesn't shock me at all. Now it's going to be up to the three candidates, Cuomo, Adams, and Sliwa, to get together to figure out, for the betterment of this city, what we do moving forward. Because if the Democratic Socialists of America, if the communists out there can see that they are able to win in New York, where else do they give it a try? Where else do they give it a try? New York falls, so does the rest. So does the rest. And that's why New York, I know there's a lot, I know there's a national audience, and some of you don't care for how often I talk about New York City, but if they can win here, they can win anywhere, and that's not a slogan, that's a fact. That's why it matters. Guys, we'll be back with our daily Epstein update because, let's be honest here, every day in the news is Epstein all day long. Before we get that, here's Jeremy.
Hey everyone, sorry to barge in like this, but I do want to talk to you about this opportunity for 45% off of everyday dose coffee. And this isn't just your regular coffee, folks. If you're like me, you love your coffee routine. I've loved my coffee routine since I was probably 16 years old. Unfortunately, as I've gotten older, some of the coffee that I love doesn't love me back and does cause bloating, does cause jitters, can only drink so much a day, and there's really only so much I can do with it. Now, everyday dose is known as Coffee Plus Benefits. And what I mean by that, folks, is A, there is an ingredients booklet in there that gives you a ton of different recipes on how to make cold brew coffees of all different kinds, lattes, different hot coffees, and more. But the greatest thing about Everyday Dose is it is known as Coffee Plus Benefits, meaning that you're going to have 100% Arabica coffee, and you're going to also have lion's mane, chaga, collagen protein, and nootropics that keep your brain focused. No jitters, no heart palpitations, and a ton of different recipes. And you're going to get a frother, a tumbler, a box set with a bunch of different gifts in it, an ingredients booklet for recipes, coffee, and more for only $27, folks. 45% off by going to everydaydose.com/LFATV. That's everydaydose.com/LFATV. Why not expand your experiences with coffee? That's everydaydose.com/LFATV.
Guys, head on over to everydaydose.com/LFATV. That's everydaydose.com/LFATV. So, our daily Epstein update, because for some reason, this story shouldn't go away. It's not going to go away. As I've said numerous times, I think the administration has fumbled this football in a very serious way. But they are at least making steps in the right direction. And in just a little bit, we're going to be joined by somebody who knows everything about the Epstein case. But the story moving forward is that Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, I met with Ghislaine Maxwell on yesterday in Florida and called it a very productive meeting. Ghislaine Maxwell and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche had a very productive day. Maxwell attorney said after the DOJ traveled to Florida to meet with the infamous financier's accomplice, who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence in Tallahassee for sex crime charges. David Marcus said of the meeting, Blanche took a full day and asked a lot of questions. Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all questions truthfully and honestly to the best of her ability. Maxwell's brother Ian told the outlet that she reportedly compiled evidence related to her 2021 trial over alleged government misconduct. Clearly, we must now see how this plays out. Ian Maxwell told reporters she will be putting before the court material, new evidence that was not available in the 21 trial, which would have significantly impacted the outcome. This comes as the House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed Maxwell. A deposition is set to take place on August 11th at the Federal Correctional Institute in Tallahassee. Look, President Trump was asked about this today. He says that he's going to give us names. We shall see.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Right across.
I mean, look, he says we're going to get names. He said we should get names, and I believe that we absolutely should. We will see how this plays out. I look forward to that deposition on August 11th. I hope it is in public. I hope it is out there for the world to see. But the big question remains, and I really haven't touched on this because I'll be honest with you, I am not as well versed in the connections, Epstein, intelligence, who is he, all that. I got to be honest, I'm not totally well versed in it. But I do know somebody who is. I do know somebody who knows this case up, down, left, right, and backwards. And we are going to get to him in 1 minute. Before we do that, Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, head on over to oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. And lock in these interest rates before Jerome Powell wises up and lowers them, which we're going to be talking about in just 1 second. We're going to be talking about that and in the back end of the show. Once again, keep it locked in here till 2:30, baby. You guys get 50 more minutes of Kevin today. Oh, I guess he's in the chat. So there's no point in me asking you guys who may be coming on the show to discuss who is Jeffrey Epstein. Where does this all go from here? Everybody, welcome my little brother, Mike Crispi. So, guys, naturally, Epstein has been on everybody's mind. And when it comes to anything deep state, anything conspiratorial, there is one person I have got to talk to. You guys know him. You guys love him. I think he's okay. Everybody, Mike Crispi is back on LFA TV. Mike Crispi, what's going on, brother?
Kevin, it's great to be with you. I have turned you. You have finally become a fellow conspiracy theorist. I welcome you in. I'm going to put you on the board of directors of the Conspiracy Theory Fraternal Order. Welcome, Kevin. It's an honor to have you, my friend.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for coming back on. There's been it is being in news today. There is never a shortage of things to talk about. And one story that I have often called it the herpes of American politics is Jeffrey Epstein, a story that pops up at the most inopportune times and will never, ever seem to go away.
It's a very interesting thing to call it, but we won't touch that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a double entendre for Sure, but so what do you think's going on? What's happening here? You got Todd Blanche going down to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's going to testify on the 11th. Will it be in public? Will it be behind closed doors? Are we going to get any answers? Does she sing like a bird? What do you think?
All right, Kevin, here's what I think's going on. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein was part of a massive intelligence operation. I'll give you and the viewers some really good breakdown of this here. I know we have a little time. So here's what it is. Jeffrey Epstein drops out of college. He goes and he teaches math at this school. Okay. He goes and teaches math at the place called the Belton School. It's one of the most high-end, super high tuition schools you can go to in New York City. Very prestigious and elite. Jeffrey Epstein gets a job there. He gets hired by Bill Barr's father, who is the headmaster of the school and a former big-time CIA guy. You guys remember Bill Barr? He's the attorney general in Trump's first term, who was, deep stater. He also was the attorney general under George Bush. And he's actually the one who brought Epstein, up on the charges when Trump was, the president the first time. He was the attorney general. So very weird circumstance and coincidence there. Bill Barr's father hires Epstein out of nowhere. Epstein is a college dropout who gets hired to be the head of mathematics. He teaches math at the school. And then out of nowhere, somebody in the school, there's conflicting reports on how it happened, but he ends up getting a job at Bear Stearns because somebody connected to the school referred him over to there, and he goes and works at this financial firm, Bear Stearns. And during his time at Bear Stearns, he's meeting all these people, and he essentially gets into the business of hiding people's money. He gets into the business of hiding people's money. He does that for a number of years at Bear Stearns. He ends up getting let go from Bear Stearns, and then he goes into business for himself. Now, even though he get let go from them, he stayed in very good contact with them. So the question is, was it part of a plan? Was he put into the game by intelligence? Was he put into Bear Stearns to learn how to do these things? And then was he separated from them, or was it planned to go into business for himself to do something? And what was that something exactly? Was he hiding rich people's money, or was he doing something in addition and more nefarious to that? So Epstein does that. He leaves. He's by himself. And then all of a sudden he gets connected to another globalist intelligence asset, this guy Khashoggi. So people who were watching might remember Jamal Khashoggi was like
he was the writer for the Washington Post that got,
and he got
that
killed
got
by Saudi Arabia. So his father was like this big time, warlord arms guy. The father was like an untouchable billionaire who was totally intertwined in all sorts of foreign governments and intelligence. And Epstein his business is to represent just him. So how did Epstein go from that to representing Khashoggi's dad, right? This guy, this international warlord arms dealer guy out of nowhere. And then Epstein is having meetings at the Pentagon with him and all this crazy stuff. So we fast forward to, Epstein in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, when he's a little bit older. He's got Les Wexner as a client, super connected to, Israel and the Israeli intelligence community and the government of Israel. And we also have Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, who was a MI6 asset. And then he became a Mossad asset. He was an MI6 asset because he moved from like some Eastern European country to the UK, served in the military. Then he became a leader in UK intelligence, MI6. And because he was Jewish, then he ended up making a friendship with the head spy for the Mossad in the UK. And Robert Maxwell then became like this Mossad guy, And we can prove that because when Robert Maxwell died, he was buried like with all these military honors in Israel. And people find it precarious that Ghislaine Maxwell, was pimped out by her dad to Jeffrey Epstein. It's kind of a bizarre thing because Robert Maxwell met Epstein, and then the daughter became like, Epstein's right hand. And so I think, Kevin, and I'm summarizing this, and there's so many people doing long form podcasts about it, but I do believe that Epstein was a shared intelligence asset. I believe it was a shared asset between the CIA, the MI6, and the Mossad. And I believe that Epstein right now, and the reason that people want this to go away is because, the blackmail and the influence ring and everything that encapsulated him, I think it's all true. But I think that it implicates a lot of foreign governments and a lot of very big time domestic people that could push war, that could push World War III, that could push all sorts of global instability and chaos. And I think that foreign governments came to Trump, either a government or governments. I think the Israeli government for sure, but possibly also the UK under the auspices of representing the European Union, came to Trump and said, hey, we need this thing to go away. Like, you're the only guy who can kind of finally put this to bed forever. It implicates us fully. We can't have it come out. Again, the former prime minister of Israel, lived with Jeffrey Epstein. We can't have this come out. We need this killed. And in return, we won't start World War III. We'll bend to your will on trade. We'll, do a litany of things that would be beneficial for the American people. But you need to put this to bed. And if that's the deal, again, I'm totally speculating on this.
Yeah.
But if that's a deal that was made and it saves hundreds of thousands of lives, you know what? Maybe it's not the worst thing. Scott Adams said that. I tend to agree.
There's so much.
But
there's
the
so
question
much
is, why
involved
did
in it.
Bondi handle it so bad? Well, sorry to cut you off, Kevin. My last point is, if that was the deal and that's what was made, why did Bondi handle it so absurdly horrible? And I think Trump's kind of annoyance with this whole thing is that he doesn't like how it's been handled. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, that's the thing that I'm trying to wrap my brain around, because look, if it is all intelligence and it's all blackmail ring and it's, MI6 and Mossad and the CIA, then there's no chance of us ever finding out. Yes. And moreover, when we don't get that, it leads to the bigger thing. I am somebody, and you and I and Frankie have gone back and forth on this numerous times. That to me seems plausible. Now, where we jump the shark, I think, is when people have a giant list of celebrities that they happen to hate, and it just so happens that all the ones that they hate also happen to be.
There's no list.
Yeah,
there's no list. And also, I think a lot of the evidence is kept by the government of Israel. Because again, government of Israel doesn't, we give them all this money, but they don't do what they don't want to do with us.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not part of the nuclear treaties. They don't, adhere to a lot of the things some of the other countries adhere to. So Israel would tell us to pound sand. We're not giving you these things, even if it was a shared asset. And again, you can't operate in America without the CIA. And you're right, Kevin. If that was really what's going on, we're never going to get it. Okay. We're never going to get it.
Because look, when they released the JFK files, I told everybody, I said, do you think that Alan Dulles, before killing the president, decided to send out a company-wide memo saying he was going to do it? What? No one's mind, after they released whatever they released, and you could say that it's not all of it, you could say that it's everything. No one, if you thought it was the mafia, it's still the mafia to you. If you thought it was the CIA and Alan Dulles, if you think it was a lone gunman, you're alone. But you probably still think that. No one's mind has changed, and I feel like this is going to be one of those situations that no one will be like, oh, well, it turns out, because I've long said, if there is a list and it's compiled by somewhere, let's use a round number. Let's say there's 100 names on it. You're probably only going to know 3 or 4 of them. I mean, does anyone know the senior vice president at Deutsche Bank? I don't know who these hedge fund guys. There's a million hedge fund firms out there.
There'll never be a list. But what I think that we could get is that I think we could get evidence, testimony, video footage, intelligence, whether that be via memos or whatever, of the people involved. And I think you can create a list through that. I don't think there's this magic bullet that is a huge list.
International criminals tend not to keep an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes. Kevin, do you think that this is, do you think you've moved in this whole process, like just
Yes.
talking friend to friend here. And Kevin and I, people off camera, I love Kevin. I think he's a great man. There's a lot of scumbags in politics and podcasting. Kevin is a great guy. He's really one of the good ones. And I say that genuinely. He's one of the very good people. We give each other a lot of shit, but I think very strongly of the guy. Kevin, do you think that you have now moved a little bit on this, or you've become a little more, I don't know, conspiratorial is the word, but a little more believing that there's more than what meets the eye?
Yes. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the way the pro-Israel people have responded.
Oh, that's wow. Very based.
Watching how unbelievable. And look, I am pro-Israel.
We're all pro-Israel. We all love
so
the Jews.
I don't need to. I don't need.
Tired of
I hate having to caveat everything.
Yes, it's so. I just 2 seconds. Right. I'm sick and tired of people saying that if I talk about a foreign government's misdealings, that means I'm anti-Semitic. If I talk badly about Macron or badly about Rishi, the former Prime Minister of the UK, or if I talk bad about North Korea and Kim Jong-un, or if I talk bad about Xi Jinping, does that mean that I hate the people of the country?
No.
When I talk bad about Joe Biden, okay, does that mean I hated my fellow Americans? It's like if you say it's anti-Semitic, we're sick and tired of it. Okay, I believe in the state of Israel. I believe in the Jewish people. I love the Jewish people. Okay, but what I don't believe in is a government that's rogue, that runs away and does things disingenuously to stay in power and to accrue power through nefarious purposes and through the exploitation of children. I'm not down with that.
Yeah.
And it's not anti-Semitic to use evidence and say this government was doing X. I've criticized Netanyahu on my show in Real America's Voice, and I used to get a lot of shit for it. Fast forward a couple weeks, the guy bombs the Catholic Church, and now he's like, launching missiles in Syria, even though Trump made a peace deal with Syria. He gets his trial delayed. He's on trial for corruption. Most Jews don't even like Netanyahu. It's only the Fox News propaganda that feeds you that Netanyahu is somehow synonymous with the Jewish people. Just like that's like saying Biden's synonymous with the American people. Not true. Sorry, Kevin.
And you're right. And watching the reaction of those Fox News boomers, Levin, Kilmeade, Hannity, watching their reaction to Tucker Carlson's speech at Turning Point showed me everything I need. Because first off, Mark Levin has never seen a war that doesn't get him off.
Worst guy.
The worst of all of them. But
he's an asset. He's a foreign asset. He only cared about Trump when the Iran thing started to bubble up. Because 2 weeks before that, he was complaining about Zelensky. He was saying Trump shouldn't have been so mean to Zelensky in the Oval Office. So he's a war hawk, and he's also an Israel hawk. And that's all that guy cares about.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about MAGA. He's like, we need to support whatever Trump says. As soon as something happens that he doesn't like with Trump again, he'll get upset.
Oh, yeah.
He is the fakest. And then he goes, you're not real MAGA if you don't support this.
Yeah.
He is an op. He is a foreign government op. He doesn't care about America. And it's a joke that he is on Fox News.
And it just shows how the party is moving away from those like WABC radio hosts that have never seen a war. And I like a lot of them. I'm on ABC radio. So let me take that back.
Who do you want to call out on WABC?
Everyone over the age of 70.
No, I like Roger Stone's on WABC. He's not a.
Oh, he
Roger
is?
Stone.
Okay, no, well, all right. I didn't know.
Roger Stone is
I can't keep up.
anti-war. And very good on these things. But there are a lot of other
but you know what?
hosts
It's just a mentality from the we got to fight him over there, so we don't got to fight him over here mentality. And that has been crap. No one is concerned with Russia invading the port of Long Beach. And and to be honest with you, if they did, let me know when they get to Vegas, and then I'll start caring. But you could take Portland, take Seattle.
Kevin's going to hope that the Russians bring some of their women over. And say, hey, you want to go to Long Beach? I'll hit the bars with you in Long Beach.
If they're gonna bring over people who look like Anna Kournikova, they absolutely are Giselle Bundchen. I think no, she's Brazilian. Never mind. Anna Kournikova or any of those tennis players from the '90s. Come on, bring it on. I got no problem there. No problem. I don't even know if she's from Russia, but that name sounds Russian.
I think she is. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's Russian. But no, it is just the moving away. And look, we talk about this all the time. I came out of the anti-Iraq war left, the people that were like, why are we in Afghanistan still? What are we doing? And the forever wars. And it seems like as soon as we ended the forever war in the Middle East, we moved directly on to the war they've always wanted with Russia, be it a proxy war. Look, it's not the first time we fought a proxy war against the Russians. Hello, Vietnam. Like this isn't the first time we've done this.
Hey, what about the Arab Spring? With Gaddafi. I mean, I don't remember if we've ever talked about that, Kevin, but it's like all these things are interconnected. And the Arab Spring and, the war between Iraq and Iran, where we funded both sides, and a lot of the other regime change that we've led in Middle Eastern countries, a lot of it has been regime change in the Middle East in tandem with Israel to benefit the military industrial complex. And so they're a partner in crime to the faction of the United States government that we don't like, the neocons.
And
you
see them now.
George Bush is the Netanyahu. George Bush and Netanyahu. Netanyahu is the George Bush of Israel.
And you see so many Republicans now openly supporting the concept of a military-industrial complex by saying, guys, we're not giving Ukraine money. We're paying our companies to make bombs. What, bro?
That's propaganda.
You just said that.
People die, and we'll be in forever conflict because of it. And these people, I say, throw Mark Levin on the front lines. See how long he lasts.
And you know what? And of course, we all know the Republican who said that. I'm not saying his name out loud because I don't want to conjure Mike Lawler's anger. But that was literally what he said. He was like, no, guys, we're paying American companies to make the bombs to send over there. So it's okay. And I'm sitting back there going, did you just say that, bro?
We should, as Americans, have allegiance to America. It's not that complicated. Okay. And I don't like anytime they try to spin, if we don't do this, then they'll come to our shores. No one's coming to our shores. Okay. But they have they have a culture of death and they're primitive subhumans. Okay. So if they're primitive subhumans and you think so little of them, then how the hell are they going to get to our shores? How are they? So either they're these cavemen, simplistic wackos, and they live in their sand caves, and therefore, like, they're super idealistic. If you believe that, then how are they going to get to American shores? They can't. Iran can't get to the American shores.
No.
So it is so disingenuous when they say that, Kevin. I'm sick and tired of it. And it is a design to fight a war for a foreign country. And I commend you, Kevin, for calling it out. Because a lot of people, they go, I don't want to talk bad about
look, you're going to
foreign governments.
You can't just take the big, beautiful bill. And I like the big, beautiful bill as a whole. I do. But you can't say you're going to cut funding and then give an extra $150 billion to the Pentagon when we're not at war. Like, we have less bills at the Pentagon, but we gave them a 17% increase, and I don't know for what. Like,
the culture of the war, the culture of the death, the culture of foreign influence in our country will lead to a continuous death spiral that will never correct itself and clean out the elements of the deep state. I'm glad we agree there's the deep state. It will never clean it out the way that all these genuine patriots want it to if this continues. If the money machine continues and the wars continue and the killing overseas continues and the blackmail rings and the intelligence ops continue, you will always have corruption, which leads to people that we elect to do a job for us, selling us out and looking at a secondary. And you will never have a country that can recover and be great at the level in which it once was, unless that system is pulled out to the stem, replanted, and made new. Trump's tried to do it, but the system is so big, and it needs to be more than just Trump. Trump's on it. Trump's been on it, but you need to have 1,000 people elected at all sorts of levels, state, federal, in the government, for that to happen.
And this is what I tell people all the time. I'm like, guys, we did not win. This is a battle, not a war. This goes into 26 and 28 and 30 and 32. After 32, I think we're pretty much good based on the way populations are going to be moving with the electoral map. But it took nefarious actors 30, 40, 50, 60 years to build this industry. And if you think we're going to win this in one election cycle, you're on drugs. You're right. It's just not going to happen. Firstly, like the career bureaucrats, which I have always said are my idea of the deep state, the people who don't like the fact that policy changes every 2 years. Those people, you can't fire all of them. So they have to be moved out in time and then replaced with people who have that America First agenda. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing it with the IRS cuts. We're seeing it with the end of USAID. We're seeing it with the end of a lot of these State Department stuff like Iraqi Mickey Mouse or Sesame Street, whatever the hell it was. Although I do think it's kind of ironic that after we stop funding Sesame Street in Iraq, Elmo's Twitter account gets hacked and says some anti-Semitic stuff. I did think that was pretty funny. But, really, Elmo, come on, guys. Yeah, you going after Elmo? For those of you who didn't see, Elmo said something very not nice about Jewish people right after we stopped funding.
A lot of people were starting to draft Elmo for New York City mayor after they saw that. They said maybe he'll be the lieutenant mayor for Zoran.
Zoran Mondani, man, that is going to be the real test case to see how dumb the American people are, how New Yorkers will buy anything that they are being fed. And look, there's going to be an uphill battle here. Obviously there's 3 candidates in the race. I'm a fan of one of them. The other 2 I don't like, but elections are about plus and minus. Can we add enough votes? And we're going to see what's happening with that this weekend. We're going to be with Brandon Straka in New York City at Union Square. I'm going to be there. I don't know. Maybe you'll come down with your fellow paisans in the Italian American Civil Rights League. But it's going to be fun to see the sort of reception that we get from average New Yorkers against Zoran and his. I can't think about Zoran without thinking like Zoltan from
Italian. The Italian American Civil Rights League on Monday went to his office in Queens and did a protest. It got a lot of attention. It was in the New York Times and several other outlets about Zoran. He basically had tweeted years ago the middle finger to the Columbus statue, and everything he says is hostile to us and our people. So members of the Italian American Civil Rights League, unfortunately, I was traveling on business, so I could not make it, but that's the only day the rest of the crew could make it. So hats off to my amazing fellow members of the Italian American Civil Rights League, went out there and protested. And it was us on one side, and then Italians for Zoran came out on the other side. And dude, the picture side by side is amazing. Like go on it's called at the IACRL. Go to that and look at the top tweet of the Italians for Zoran.
Italians for Zoran are the ones who call
they're not
gravy.
Italian.
They're the ones who call it gravy.
No, but they're not Italians. It's somebody who's like 1/50th Italian. We're gonna have a constituency. No Italians are voting for Zoran.
No.
Now, I think it's going to be split amongst other candidates. That's going to be a tough race, Kevin. But we made our voice heard against Zoran, and we're just getting started. The Italian American community will not allow this hateful Ugandan, rich, spoiled, silver-spooned freak. Can we even call him silver spoon because he eats with his hand? This silver-handed freak.
I just stop eating with your hands, bro. Yeah. Like
I see you change the view. That's nice.
Well, that's because we are running out of time, Mike. Actually, we should do this more often since it kind of worked. And you did it all. And you did it all by yourself. I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to ask Frankie whether or not Brigitte Macron has a penis or not. But
well, I'll tell you this: Frankie, Kevin, I owe you. You come on my show a lot. We give each other crap. You're a great man. Loud Majority is on fire. Make sure you follow Kevin on X. His X account is surpassing mine, which is big time. He's doing great things. And it is
600 away, my friend. 600 away.
You're going to know who's counting. You're going to beat me. It's great. I love Kevin Smith. He's going to be on the front line saving New York City. If New York City goes, the whole entire state goes. Loud Majority has done great things. Kevin, you got to bring in remember when you brought that convoy in front of Trump Tower in support of Trump? You got to do something against Zoran and raise awareness. I know you'll do it. You've always been the guy behind Loud Majority, okay? Don't let anybody fool you, okay? Nobody knows Sean Farrett. Kevin Smith was the guy who always made it happen. Kevin Smith is the on-the-ground activist who's always led the charge.
You won.
Okay?
You won the primary. You don't have to. You won.
Kevin Smith, baby.
I will see
Kevin,
you.
We appreciate it.
I'll see you in Jersey, my friend. We got some big work to do this year.
All right, Kevin, you're the man. Thank you.
Take care, buddy. Awesome as always, to have Mike on. Guys, we'll be right back. Always good having my little brother on the show. You guys know that we like to get it's always fun when me and Crispi link up. Good to have him back on LFA TV. Love that guy. Yeah, I tell you, I'll tell you a funny story about Mike Crispi. When him and Frankie were first doing the show on Right Side Broadcasting, he was one of the first people to have Sean and myself on the show. It was awesome. You guys know I give him a lot of crap. He gives me a lot of crap. But that's what big brothers and little brothers do. Guys, we got some more Ghislaine Maxwell news coming in just a second. Todd Blanche met with her down in Florida today for a second day of meetings, and it appears that Ghislaine Maxwell wants a pardon. Here was Fox.
New at 2, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's meeting with convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has ended. This as critics are calling for more transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Welcome back as we head into hour 2 of America Reports. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and Bill, great to have you here today.
Great to be with you as well, Sandra. I'm Bill Malugin in Los Angeles. John Roberts has the day off. That meeting Sandra just mentioned just wrapped up moments ago. Maxwell was escorted back to the prison from the courthouse in Tallahassee. Her attorney said they had a, quote, productive meeting with Blanche, but details of their talks still remain under wraps right now.
All right, Fox Team coverage is at the ready. Chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream is live here in New York City, standing by with analysis. But first, let's get to our justice correspondent, David Spunt. He's got the latest from Washington for us. So, David, what else did Maxwell's attorney say?
Well, he said a lot. We wish we could be in and hear what was said in the actual meeting. This meeting was a lot shorter than it was yesterday, but this was a 2-day event. The highlight, though, it appears that her team wants a pardon. Watch.
We're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
But the president leaving the White House today was asked directly about a pardon or commutation of Maxwell.
And he didn't give a direct answer on whether or not he would give that. Now, look, a lot remains to be seen here. A lot remains to be seen what all is going to come of this. Should we pardon an accomplice in a sex trafficking ring in order to get information on more people? Some people would say no. Some people would say this is an obvious yes. And I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. Do I want Maxwell to sing? Oh yeah, I want her to sing like a bird. Is it worth her getting out of jail? I don't know. I really don't know. Chad, I'm curious what you guys think. We'll pop that up in a second. Before we do that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Giddy up. Let's go. We're going to pop this live chat up onto the screen. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Once again, guys, this Sunday, July 27th, live in Union Square in New York City. Join me, Brianna Lyman, official DVS Shaw, Brandon Strzok, and a whole bunch of other names. Maud Marin running for district attorney of New York City. We're all going to be there, baby, to rally against Democratic Socialist Zoran Mondani. It's going to be a hell of a time. Also, next week, baby, I will be in the Music City. Nashville, Tennessee, for the National Young Republican Conference. Do hit me up if you live in the area. I would love to meet all of you. I would love to meet you. I would love to meet each and every one of you. I got to meet some fans when I was in Tampa, and it was awesome for a multitude of reasons. It was awesome. So if you guys are in the Nashville area, let me know. So yesterday, Donald Trump and his administration did something that only the Trump administration could do. Okay? Now, they sued the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Now, I know what you're thinking, Kev, that's not out of the realm of possibility. They sue people all the time. Why is that strange? Here is the news of the lawsuit against Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
Welcome back. Now, there's Azoria Capital filing a lawsuit today against Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell, alleging that the central bank is violating transparency law. The suit in part says this: Azoria believes the Federal Reserve is violating federal transparency law, and we are asking a federal judge to immediately block next week's Federal Reserve meeting from happening behind closed doors. Azoria is demanding the court order that the Fed to keep the meeting open as the company sounds the alarm on recent policy decisions, saying Azoria is deeply concerned that the FOMC under Chairman Powell is maintaining high interest rates to undermine President Donald J. Trump and his economic agenda. Joining me now is the CEO himself, Azoria CEO James Fishback. James, thanks very much for being here. So you think this is all political?
I do, Maria. Good morning. The truth of the matter is that inflation is now at a 4-year low under President Trump's leadership. 5 consecutive better than expected, lower than expected inflation readings. And the Federal Reserve refuses to lower rates from a 20-year high. That is a life-altering decision that affects Americans all over the country. They can't get a mortgage. They can't get a home. They can't start or grow their family. Azoria is now suing Jerome Powell in federal court this morning to demand that next week's meeting be open to public observation as federal transparency law requires.
Well, I mean, they always...
I want to be clear. Having that open to the public to weigh in, that is going to be a wild one, and we will certainly cover that here. I would love to get the public's opinion on how they feel about the Federal Reserve. But following the announcement of that lawsuit, President Trump did something that only he could do. He went down and visited Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve. You see, because back in 2017, they approved a site plan for the Federal Reserve to make improvements on the building. And Trump being the real estate developer that he is, wanted to go down and just check out how things were going. And I want to be clear, this was one of the most awkward meetings I've ever seen in my entire life. You want to talk about cutting the tension with a knife? Here that is.
We hear the president. Let's tune in.
With the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. And it's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons I wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses, wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
He brought the receipts.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well. 3.1, 3.2. This came from us?
Yeah.
Jerome Powell out there looking like my dad, trying to find the specials on a menu in a dark restaurant.
I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use. But no, we don't expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger. So, any questions?
Mr. President, does the issue give you any? As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
I'd fire them. That's exactly what he said. I mean, let's talk about levels of discomfort on a very serious level. So, right after Jerome Powell ends up getting sued, Donald Trump went down there and paid him a little visit. That was so, first off, I want to be clear. I hate uncomfortable situations. I really do. I hate passive aggressiveness. You know, it's unsettling. I would much rather just fight somebody than, be in any sort of uncomfortable situation. Donald Trump thrives in that. He was probably, sitting around the White House going, oh, we got some time? Let's go visit Jerome Powell and make things awkward, because that is certainly what he did. Certainly what he did. Two people who very clearly don't like each other, or at least one that very much doesn't like the other one. Very, very unsettling. Guys, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button, because we got some more stuff that I want to make sure that I get to. We got some good news. We got some Democrats screwing things up. Very funny stuff. Before we get to that, guys, once again, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Let's get rocking. Let's get rolling here. So Democrats had themselves a bit of a fumble yesterday when they put up a graph showing that prices on some things are at an all-time high. This is absolutely hilarious.
They were saying that all of these prices have gone up in 2025. That's what the headline read. But when you read the graph, the highest points were during Joe Biden's administration. And so this is the White House's response. You can see they highlighted it in red. When it was the highest, it was under Joe Biden.
Right. So they deleted it off. So obviously,
the Democrats deleted it.
Yeah, obviously an own goal by the Democratic Party. So, for example, they say a lot of dairy prices are down, right? Eggs are down 53%, something ridiculously low. But meat is high. Yeah. So the president's got to focus on that. And guess what the president did yesterday? He got Australia to buy our beef for the first time. Yeah. So he's constantly moving stuff.
Constantly moving stuff, and that is, as I discussed on yesterday's show, and I've said numerous times, you cannot run a government based on a 24-hour news cycle. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. Things take time. They take time to develop. And when it comes to government, they happen even slower than many of us would like. You know, we've been talking about Epstein a lot over the course of this show, and we wish things were happening faster. But I hate to break it to you, is government just doesn't run at that speed. Another thing that has been happening in the news now is a lot of attention has been given to the almost 500,000 unaccompanied minors that Joe Biden lost during his administration. Well, the president's team has been out and about doing everything they can to try and find these lost children. Thank God. So far, they are reporting that they have rescued almost 13,000 of them.
We just got information from an HHS official that shows that 13,061 unaccompanied minors have actually been located under the Trump administration. And ICE, we're learning, is also arresting some of the sponsors. 442 sponsors have been arrested for involvement in suspected child abuse or other crimes are being discovered. Now, the abuse is being determined through a multifaceted investigation if they do determine that sponsor was abusing that child. Now, they're using local police, CPS, federal agencies. They're all involved, according to HHS. Now, former special agents with Homeland Security investigations have explained to us that oftentimes these kids are left behind as payment. The parent is often promised by the cartel members that they will eventually be reunited with their child in the U.S. That child, sadly, is often recycled to help single adults enter the country illegally. Now, we know that 320,000 unaccompanied minors were essentially unaccounted for under the Biden administration. The Trump administration, they campaigned on it. They've been talking about it regularly. It's a priority for them to go and find these kids, but still, just a fraction, Nicole, 13,000 out of 320,000 so far.
Truly just a fraction there, Allie.
And look, it is just a fraction, but guess what? To the 13,000 kids that were found, it is absolutely a huge deal. It's also a huge deal that they've arrested 442 sponsors of illegal immigrant migrants or have been arrested on a suspicion of child abuse for these kids. 442 child migrant sponsors have been arrested on suspicion of child abuse and other crimes after the Biden administration allowed nearly 500,000 illegal immigrant children into the country without adult supervision. This comes as the Trump administration has been able to locate 13,000 minors that were allowed into the country under the border policies of the previous administration. Look, I want to be clear. Every single day, we are getting more and more updates about what that number actually is. And Stephen Miller went on Fox News the other day and said that actually they believe it may be 100,000 more than previously thought. 100,000 more than previously thought, bringing the total to nearly 500,000.
Well, so here's another one for you, Sean. On top of all of that, we now believe the true number of missing children that Joe Biden trafficked into the country, the Democrats trafficked into the country, is 450,000. Not 320, 450. The Democrats have committed crimes for which they can never be forgiven, Sean. And Donald Trump is cleaning it up. Donald Trump is cleaning it up right now.
Let me say it again. Stephen, they have blood on their hands. They'll have more blood on their hands. Every murder, every rape, every violent crime. And if there's ever one of these known terrorists, we don't know where they are, that they let into this country unvetted, if there's an attack on our homeland, they'll have a lot more blood on their hands. I hope and pray I'm wrong.
They will, Sean.
I don't think I am.
And look, let's hope this administration continues doing the hard work of finding these kids, because I don't even want to imagine what they're going through right now. Guys, but it's Friday. It's Friday, so I want to leave you guys with something absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And I'm going to show you a clip of Emily Jasinski. I say her name wrong every single time. She's a reporter over at Breaking Points. She was actually in the press room the other day questioning Tulsi Gabbard on whether or not the crimes of Obama have been referred to the DOJ. She does a breakdown of a New York Times piece that focuses on something called heteropessimism. Turns out the New York Times may have actually jumped the shark in a way that is almost undescribable. Guys, sit down, strap in, because you are going to laugh your ass off at this.
We gotta look at this New York Times story. I teased this up top, but this is F7. We can go ahead and just put the headline up on the screen, because the headline is just wonderful in and of itself. So, the trouble with wanting men. This is an incredibly long essay by someone named Jean Garnett, and it's for the New York Times to run this. I think this is the type of thing that would be run in it's not that I have the highest esteem for the New York Times, but just the quality of this essay is something that would have been published in Jezebel circa 2011. It's like a blog level personal essay that drops all kinds of $1 million words straight out of the seminar sphere, and I've got to find some of them here, and I'm going to share them. There's actually a lot. One of my favorites that gets used, and this becomes the whole basis for the story. Here it is. Yep. So I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to see what I searched to find this word. I was looking for the author's use of the word heteropessimism. Heteropessimism. Here's the paragraph. There are many routes to the species of disappointment I am circling here, but however we get there, the complaint is so common, such a cultural and narrative staple that the Academy is weighing in. We now have a fancy word, heteropessimism, to describe the outlook of straight women fed up with the mating behavior of men. Pausing right there, no, we don't have a word, because heteropessimism is not a fucking word. Not a word. Just because some, quote, sexuality scholar named Asa Saresan comes up with the word heteropessimism does not mean that we as a collective have the word heteropessimism. Now, according to the author, this sexuality scholar has later amended heteropessimism actually to heterofatalism. And the author says that term seems at first glance to distill a mood that is no less timely for being timeless. I mean, again, like this is something that, you know, Lena Dunham's character in Girls would have submitted and complained about not getting published because the quality of it was so absurdly low. But here it is, 2025 in the New York Times. And this is the author writing about no longer being with her husband, all kinds of like sexual exploits in the dating circuit, being in an open marriage, then being asked about group sex, and ultimately landing on just this concept of heterofatalism, which starts as, of course, heteropessimism. And I can't believe I even continue to say that word as though it's something real, but it's just basically landing on this concept of heterofatalism for the author is being tired of, or stems from being tired of the bad dating behavior of men. And at one point, the author says, you know, I don't want to fall into these traditional traps of waiting for a man to call me back. So this heteropessimism, this is just some helpful advice to the author. This heteropessimism is just heterorealism.
Guys, I had to share that with you because that video goes on for another 11 minutes. Describing this New York Times piece that can only be described as, look, guys, that's the paper of record. Those are the people who think they're better than you. Somebody who invented a word, who feels a little bit stressed out at the dating scene. That is what's out there. No doubt that woman lives in New York City. I kind of want to run into her. I kind of do. Because I just think that would be funny. You know what's not funny, but awesome? That Hannah Faulkner is coming up next. Guys, I'll see you in Union Square on Sunday. If not, I'll catch you guys back live on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Stay loud.